So you want to add some light to your e-bike. Something cheap, you want to add a tail light, something nice. Even go to, some big box store, whatever else, and get a HID light. Now, this one was sold as a bike light, not too impressed with the mount, but I'll probably 3D print something. But more to the point is, I want to show you guys how to wire up a relay into the system. Do this the proper way, but there's a trick to doing this. You just can't hook it up like you would regular old conventional inductive relay that you're used to. And you gotta hook this up a certain way. So I'll get to that. So let's do this. Now the Bofang motor kits have a one of these little plugs on the end. 8 fun plug. I don't know what it's called. I tried getting some ones that would plug right onto it, but it was expensive. Well, $10, that's more than I wanted to pay, and I have a soldering iron. So I cut the old plug off. You could do whatever you need to do to get your plug. Now, I thought this was supposed to produce 6 volts out. It doesn't. It produces 12 volts according to my voltmeter, but at least the polarity is correct. And that doesn't matter. To fire this relay, I only need 3 to 32 volts DC in. This is a DC to DC relay, and that's important that you get one. Most of these solid state relays are not. Now the reason why I'm going with this over the traditional like Boss Cube relay with the 4 or 5 pin that's ever so popular and ever so handy is I didn't want to worry about one vibrations and stuff, because this bike will get ridden and beat up, and not that a car is not, but in particular I just didn't. I like that these are all sealed 100%, and I didn't want to worry about the load. If you just hook this directly to your lights, the entire light load is going through your relay or through your controller, and that I don't know, I wasn't able to find a spec for these controllers, and this way I don't have to rely on the spec. All it does is have to put out a voltage signal that is done via my dash, or you could just, instead of doing all this, you could use a small switch, a little push button, something hidden, and do the same thing. You don't even have to use an integrated controller to do the same thing. But I'm just going to be essentially hooking these to here with a JST connector in the middle. Your choice of connectors on you, and then we're going to be hooking the hot side to here. Now to do all that, I've decided to go with what's called an XT90 connector, and they're real popular. I needed to cut in to supply a power lead to my relay because I'm pulling direct battery voltage now to my lights. So your lights need to be capable of whatever your battery voltage is, or after this. You could do it before, but I'd rather do it after. That way it's only on when you're using it, a voltage regulator. So you could use this to switch your main battery source to a voltage regulator or to your lights. I'm going to be going directly to the light because both my front and rear light are rated at 60 volts. Now the XT90 connector, this is an anti-spark model. I'm shortening up these cables because DC, and it's Shackleton Explorer, DC does better the shorter the cables are. Also, my factory cable is this little spindly guy, and I'm going to upgrade it from a 14 to a 12, which is what's on the motor anyways, which is this guy. And 14 is probably fine, but the 12 is just that much more. Yeah, we like that. I'm going to be using these little tiny XT30 connectors. I'm going to come off of my battery connector. Is going to be the anti-spark male connector. That's a shrouded one, so it's not as easy to actually shove something in there and spark yourself. And then on the female side, I'm gonna hook this guy off the back, and again, connections optional. You could wire direct. I like connectors because I could plug, play, and mix and match if I want to change lights in the future. If I want to disconnect the system, yada yada yada, I could disconnect it. So let's get into the important part of how to wire up this relay. Now, when you have this relay here, like I already pointed out, you have your positive and your negative. That could be anywhere from 3 to 32 volts DC direct current. Now, on your output side, this is plus and minus. Well, if you just hook plus and minus to power your battery or whatever, that's a direct short, and you would have this thing barbecuing, you would smoke wires, you would have all kinds of excitement in a hurry. So don't go doing that. What this actually means is, and it's stupid, and I don't understand why they do that, is a source and load side. So you'd have your battery coming in here, and polarity doesn't matter. You could switch the ground side or the positive side, but just for reference, so we bring our positive in that's coming from our battery lead down from our main battery, or main e-bike battery is coming in on our positive. So coming out here, we would just have this lead, and that would go to our e-bike lights, and then we would take the black lead and hook it back together. Let me draw that for you. So this was your battery source in. You'd bring your positive into here. On the 3 negative side, it would be the negatives what you're worrying about. Don't worry about the numbers. Is the load side, and then the positive is the battery side of the output. It's just the output side. It's screwy over here, remember. And so you have your positive out. I drew an incandescent bulb. We're running LEDs. I recommend you do too, for the same reasons: vibrations, and power use and everything. LEDs are awesome. And then our ground or battery. Now in my case, I'm just running my power and my negative from my controller, which is a junction plug, straight into here to operate this, and that's my circuit. Now one route that you guys could go, optional, would be to take and splice the ground off from here, bring it over, and wada bam, and bring it onto your ground side, and then take on your positive side, or you could do this the other way, it doesn't matter, switch ground or positive, come, jump over, go to a nice little switchy poo, and then bring that back over your positive, and you run this switch up on your handlebars, whatever. It could be a little tiny discrete push button, even you might even be able to get away with one of those push touch sensors or something like that. Sneaky with it, have fun, be creative, use this in other projects. But that way you could take your battery power, switch this shut. If that's shut, then it'll shut this side of the relay, jump this shut, and then carry the load side. So that way there's just no load over here. It doesn't matter if it's a controller, switch, whatever, this carries all the load. Alright, well, I hope you guys gained some value out of that. It's kind of a blue shade of light, but that's not what this video is about. You pick your own light. Like I said, I'll probably add a brake light circuit to this. It's only got the one LED circuit, so I have to run another wire and stuff, so I'll figure that out. But I really like the element. It goes good with my rack. It's reflective. Probably going to put a 12 volt buck in it and drop the 48 volt nominal down to 12 volt buck converter into it, and then that way I can get a regular off-road headlight stick on the front, because I'm not a fan of this blue light. The beam's decent, but it's not enough. It's a front light, it's not a headlight. So anyways, this is Adventure Brad. I'm glad you guys tuned in. Comment down below how you guys set your bike up and what you did, and as always, go burn some electrons and have fun.